Welcome to the Midnight Library, dear listeners. I'm Margot, your guide through the night. Tonight we embark on a journey through shadows, tales that whisper, that send chills up the spine, and make the heart beat just a bit faster. Make yourself comfortable. Light a candle if you wish. Allow the crystal ball to glow softly, and let the tarot cards fall where they may. These are stories for adults, a little frightening, a little mysterious, yet always touched with magic. Let us begin. Story 1, The Lost Children Show. There once was a children's show, aired on a small local station. So low budget that the sets seemed stitched together, the puppets almost crude. And yet people remembered it vividly. Cheerful puppet figures, bright colors, pirates dancing, and a figure no one quite dared to name. Children complained about one particular episode where a pirate stood at the edge of the stage, waving arms like legs, singing a song so off-key that no one stayed in the room. Then came Skin Taker, a skeleton clothed in what looked disturbingly like children's skin. One adult, watching late at night via a recording, was horrified by what was captured. Squeaking voices when the camera shakes, the marionette's eyes opening and closing to stare directly at the viewer. And then behind the screen, the sound of small footsteps, even though no one was there. After that, the show stopped. The station claimed the tapes were destroyed. No copies remained. But sometimes, in the dead of night, you can believe that someone hears the puppet's song again, drifting from old radios and tape decks far away. Story 2, The Fading Friend. This next one is about Anna, who had just moved into an old apartment, a place where floorboards creaked, walls sighed, and the shadows seemed to gather in corners after dusk. Late one night, Anna felt she was being followed by something lurking in the hall between her closed doors. She saw a shadow, as if it were a friend she once knew, standing there. The shape was vague, a face without features, arms like blurred silhouettes, legs that drifted without sound. One morning, she woke with marks on her arm, the faint impression of fingers, cold pressure. When she looked in the mirror, nothing, no shape, no reflection. But every night, just before midnight, there were footsteps in the hallway. Steps moving away from her door, fading, then silence. Anna left lights on, books in her lap, but the shadow would come, sometimes dancing across the wall, sometimes just behind glass. One night, with her eyes closed, she felt a whisper in her ear, the words,
"I am still here."
Story 3, The Whispering Painting. Let me share another tale, one about a painting and the voices it carried. In a small attic gallery, a collector found a portrait of a young woman. Her expression was serene, almost alive. The collector hung the painting above his fireplace. At first, nothing seemed strange until he began hearing whispers. Late nights, when the house was still, voices drifted from the painting, faint at first, indecipherable. Then, as the nights passed, they became clearer, pleading, mournful. The woman's lips seemed to move in the flickering firelight. Neighbors said they heard a woman crying, though the collector lived alone. He tried removing the painting, locking it away, but each night it would somehow return to its place above the hearth. When visitors stood in its presence, they felt cold breath, the slightest brush of wind, though no windows were open. One evening, the collector confronted the painting. "What do you want?" A voice so soft it was a breath replied.
To be seen.
And a tear, a single tear, formed on the painted cheek, trickled down. Since then, the painting remains quiet in daylight, but when dusk falls, one may still hear the whisper,
I waited.
Story 4. The Price of Manifestation. Our next story is not about ghosts, though it carries their weight, but about wishes, manifestation, and the cost that comes with them. There was a woman, Elise, who every night wrote down her dreams on small pieces of paper. I want wealth. I want my family safe. I want to find my place in the universe. She lit candles, worked with her crystals, consulted tarot cards, all in the hope of manifesting what she most desired. One night, by the light of the crystal ball reflecting in the glass, she saw a figure, half hidden in shadows, nod. A voice from the dark said,
Your wish will come, but every gift demands balance.
The next morning, she found exactly what she wished for. Financial doors opened, relationships strengthened, but in its wake came small misfortunes. A falling out with a friend, health issues, things lost. Elise realized manifestation carries a price. For every candle she lit, for every wish she spoke aloud, she also released something unseen. Trust, peace, something precious. In the end, she accepted that manifesting is not just what you receive, but what you are willing to give. And often, it is in the shadows, in what is hidden, that the greatest lesson lies. Story 5. The Midnight Visitor. Now for a tale that creeps in the dark hours. There was a man named David who lived alone in a cabin in the woods. On some nights, when the moon hid behind clouds and the wind was still, he heard knocks at his door. Soft knocks, spaced evenly. He never opened it. The scratches on the doorframe climbed with each visit. One night, he looked through the peephole. Nothing, just street, just empty wood. Until one night, he saw a figure standing in the forest. Just beyond the reach of moonlight, silhouetted, but impossibly tall, too thin, arms that dragged on the ground. It raised its hand and pointed at his window. Terrified, David tried to hide under blankets. The knocking came, gentle but insistent. Then one loud bang. The window pane cracked. No intruder entered, but the sound of nails tapping on the inside of the glass echoed in his ears. When morning came, David found icy fingers like marks pressed against the glass from the inside. But no prints outside. No footprints in the snow. Only a whisper carried on the wind. Take a moment. Feel the warmth of the fire, the scent of leather and old paper, the dance of the candlelight with the shadows. We have wandered through vanished shows, unseen friends, painted whispers, and wishes with hidden price tags. Perhaps some of these have touched you. In a dream, in a memory, in that moment just before sleep. If you wish, stay with me for more stories, more guidance, more whispers from what lies beyond. Thank you for traveling with me tonight. Thank you for listening, for allowing the night to speak. If you enjoyed these tales, don't miss the spiritual readings in my bio. Tarot spreads, crystal guidance, and personalized readings that can help you navigate your own journey through light and shadow. Subscribe, share with friends who love mystery, and come back soon when night calls again. And remember, the greatest courage lies in confronting what we cannot fully understand. For that is where magic truly lives. Good night, beloved soul, until we meet again.